So yesterday's session we're understanding about like few scenarios about Constellation. So we understood how to work with form views and how to work with something like list views and how to get data from maybe a case class or how to get a data from a data class. So using query or using case reference or using data reference or maybe embedding data. So these are all the scenarios what we worked on. And let me remind you for one scenario what we have done yesterday. So that is, if this is the screen, we are having a data type related to policy. So we are created with properties there and we are having one data type also for that. And there is like table configured. Okay. So in UI, we configured a screen. So to maintain one table layout. So where I can click on plus and add multiple records, right? So this is one requirement what we understood. And further requirement what I ask you to do is on click of submit button background there must be one activity to be executed. So inside activity we are supposed to loop this entire page list and then you have to go for obj save. So this is the task what I asked you to do. So instead of you doing the same scenario manually, so in Constellation we got this like very easy and automated way. So let me show you that. Okay, so that requirement I'll try to show you in something different approach. For this first now what we'll do is we'll create a new section in case type class itself. Okay, we are supposed to maintain a new view, right? So generally views here are of two types. So if it is about collecting a single data, then we call it as a form view, as I already told you. And now I am trying to create a view which is to collect multiple records from the user, right? So we call this as list view. So in case type, we'll try to create one list view. No doubt we have to create a page list for this now. And this list view is meant for storing the data, or this list view is meant for collecting the data from so and so data type. Okay, and in this process what we'll try to do is we can able to add the records in between, or if you wanted to modify the existing data, or if you wanted to delete existing data, whatever it is. Okay, we'll try to maintain one tabular layout. So by default I want all the data to be fetched out. So consider I have 100 records in my table. So whenever this UI screen is launched, I want all the 100 data to be fetched out. So the same requirement we have done here as like two separate things. So scenario part one, what we worked on is configuring a view to pull out the data. That is one thing. And next scenario, what we understood here. So how to add records manually for that. And third record, after I submitting it, I want this to be saved back into the main table. So three separate requirements is what we worked on earlier. Now collectively, I'm making you to understand working on a single scenario where you don't require creating a new activity, where you don't require creating an extra data pages. Everything will be automatically done by configuring a list view. So let me again repeat. First we'll be configuring a new view where there must be a table layout, and this table layout by default should get all the records from your database table. In between I can add few records. Okay, so immediately after I'm adding 10 extra records in my new database table, those 10 records should be automatically done. You need not run an activity, not loop and save it. Maybe if I delete few records out of this, no doubt that reflection should happen immediately. If I modify any existing record, no doubt that must be like modified here. So how to make CRUD operation on a database table from an UI list view. This is our requirement. This is in turn collection of our past three requirements. So clear with the discussion what I'm talking about? Yes, right. Understood the requirement?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So configure a view in case type plus to add, delete, modify full policy data. Okay, so first what we'll do is we'll try to open our existing policy table and we'll check for the records what we're having there. So I'm trying to open this policy data type. So this is our case type, this is our data type, right? Okay. So I'm coming to records here and I can see few records showing out. So let me add some dummy data. Policy type as ABC. Okay, so let me add one more. Test data in policy table. Okay, first I'm making sure our table is like fully configured with some data. So now what we have to do? So we are supposed to come to case types and then we have to configure a view, right? Okay, so to configure a view, generally we can do it in two ways. So go to case types and this is the one, right? Okay. So for this, what I can do is I can add a new step from here. I can configure a new view. In that process, I have to select the type as list view. Okay, I wanted to take it as a table layout, right? I have to go for list view. And from there, I can proceed further. That is one channel. And the other one is you can directly go to UX tab. So what are all the views available under this class? You'll find it out. So it might be as full page view or maybe like if you click on other views, so you'll see like details view there, partial view there, maybe list view there, form view is there, right? So there will be different other type of views available here. Okay, you can try adding a list view by clicking on this option, or you can try directly adding a new step also. Whatever it is, both equally works out. So far we worked on adding a step from here and configuring the steps further, right? Now I'll show you something, the other approach. There is nothing much difference here. So I'm trying to add a new list view. Okay, so click on plus. So it will ask you what is the name, and by default you can see only one template for that. Okay, one template for that. So maybe if you're trying to do from here, something like modify, okay, pull and modify policy details. This is what the name I'm providing. So if you click on configure, and from here you are supposed to add a new view, create a new view, and here you have to choose this as the template. So obviously it will be of list view only, whatever it is, both are same. I'll show you from here itself. And then we'll try to add the same view in this one. Both are same. So click on this create and let me give the same name and submit this. Okay, so you can see one view got generated and I'm supposed to open that view. Click on that. Okay, now it is asking us how the view should be. So we are trying to go for a tabular layout and what should be the heading. And this table layout should first get the data from our policy table, right? So we're already having a table ready and I want all the data to be first fetched out. So for that, no doubt a data page should come into picture. Okay, as I told you, every time list structure data page only, no other option to change. Inside a data page, if you wanted to use any other rule like report definition, that can be further modified. So here I can see a data page and in fact, this is one case type data page. But now I wanted to pull this data, right? This data and name. So you'll have a data page with the name D underscore maybe policy list or list policy. Okay, you'll be having a data page with the name D underscore list policy. So you are supposed to change that. D underscore list policy. You can see this, right? You have to use this option. I'm trying to use proper data page, nothing much. Okay, so this is the data page. And below, we should see some data, right? We should see the data and what is the name it is asking for. Okay, let me make it as list policy. How I wanted to display normal table layout. And in this table layout, there must be columns, right? So for that, we are using, or by default, it is showing as primary fields. So in the data class or data type, there must be a view with the name primary fields and whatever you marked there. So you might be marking few properties, right? Those will be listed out as columns here. And maybe if you wanted to add your own columns, no doubt you can click on add. So now I wanted to make policy type. So what is like data we are having? Policy type, policy number, beneficiary name and owner name and policy status. Let's include these five things. So policy type, policy number, beneficiary name, and I think something owner name and policy status. So click on add. So obviously these five columns must be there and no doubt this whole data will be pulled out on page load. Okay, fine. And okay. So let's save for now. Let's cross check whether we are getting complete data or not. Let me see. I'm just creating one view. I did not configure this in any workflow. Save for now. So come to workflow tab. So this is the one, right? So you're supposed to come to workflow and you can add a new step. So that is pull and modify policy data. So click on configure view. Okay. So here, so click on add and now go to views. You are not supposed to create the new view. You have to use the existing one. Is this the view what we created? No, right. What is the name we give? Pulgadam. Okay. So this is the view what we are supposed to configure here. So click on add. So obviously you'll see one table layout or that respective view configured in this step. Save, run case and test. Okay, so this is the screen what we just configured. Okay, and here I can understand all the data by default pulled out. So the same or the similar requirement we have done yesterday also. Okay, and now what I wanted is I want this table to be like modifiable. I mean like some modification should be allowed. So where I can click on this one and I can modify here itself. Okay, or I should see some plus option so that I can add new records directly from here. And I should see some option to delete the existing record. Okay, so whatever the modifications I'm making on this table and the respective data page should be reflected back into the main table. So meaning modified data, deleted records must be deleted there also. Okay, so the same or this requirement, the similar requirement in the past versions, we are supposed to do something to pull the data from table. And we are supposed to do again to modify the data. So we're supposed to do again to insert the data. So you should run different activities or data pages just to fulfill the same requirement. But here background n number of rules are automatically executed with some DX APIs. So you are just taking care of UI part. So this Constellation framework, whatever we got inbuilt, this has got some advanced UI where I can just configure views and every backend logic. I did not work anything about activity in this case or a report definition or a data page. In fact, data page is also what I did not create. Everything backend part system is automatically doing. So what does that mean? So there must be an activity predefined in the background. Whenever I insert a record, obj save must be there. There must be an activity predefined whenever I modify again something obj save. So I should be having some extra options at every row level. So where I can delete the record. So obviously one OOTB activity which is further deleting the things. So background, something rules are ready made, activity or data pages, whatever ready made. So based on my Constellation UI and based on the small modifications I'm trying to do or based on the action what I'm trying to do, those background rules are running out. Those activities are running out. So am I calling that activity anywhere? Or consider I created my own activity. So where am I supposed to run that activity? So what are we understanding? So background Pega engine has already got some required rules. So those rules, what you used to create physically in past versions, but today we're already having all those rules. If required, I'll create my own rules. But the problem is these rules, how am I supposed to link with my UI? So that is where your understanding UI and backend part are not tightly coupled. So UI control is nowhere linked with an activity directly, but indirectly it is happening. So we are calling this as loosely coupled UI. So how this UI is calling that activity, how this UI is calling that a data page. Maybe if I'm creating my own activity, how that should be called from some part of UI. So this is where background rules are ready-made with some OOTB services maintained, and that service is executed from our UI. So what is this service? Why service is coming into picture? So this is where I talk about. So for now in our requirement, I could see just only data pulled out. So whatever the list view I created, I want this to be like little modifiable. So what do you mean by modifying? So I should see some plus option to insert a record. So maybe I should see something to modify the existing part. So for that, let's again come back to the list view what you created. So make modifications in list view to add or modify records. So let's come back here. You can come to UX tab. You can open your respective view, okay, which is already there. So now what I wanted is, if you come back, if you scroll down, you'll see an option called edit. So just mark this checkbox. So whatever the CRUD operations to be possible, okay, I wanted to edit, delete, create, and add something to the list. So below there must be an add button, right? Or even you can click on this option, whatever. So what should be the name for that? So let me go for add policy. This is just an hard-coded name, nothing much. So very simple option is what you got. Now save it, that's it. And you can observe that there are like menu option available for every row. Okay, so on click of this, I should get an option to delete. Maybe on click of that, I should get some option to modify. So that's it, very simple option. So let me run new case. I don't have an option to refresh the existing work object ID. Let's run the new case. Following right, everyone?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so this is the screen, and by default I could see all the data fetched out. Now let me click on plus, and automatically you can see one model. Okay, you call this as local action, the past versions, right? So we in latest versions we call it as model. So one model is launched where whatever the view, that is primary fields view you design, that is by default showing you. So I'm trying to add something like new 1, 2, 3, 4, and everything in the same name so that you can easily understand them. Okay, let me submit this. So I'm just trying to add a new record. So I should see this is added out and it is by default sorted alphabetically. Okay. So let me add one more thing. So click on this plus again, maybe like new 222, whatever the value. Again, submit this. Okay. So here two extra records is what we added, right? And now maybe for the first one, I wanted to modify. Click on this one. You should see an option of editing it. So here, update. Okay, so maybe two records. One is like updated and whatever this value, I wanted to delete it. So simply go for this option and it will be showing with one more model. Okay, which is OOTB model and showing with something like delete and proceed. Okay. Okay, that's it. I need not even click on submit button. I need not even click on submit button. And one more big advantage is any modification happened in UI. Okay, so it might be collecting a single property value, or it might be collecting something via page or a page list, whatever it is. Any UI change happened, this will automatically refresh the form. You need not go for, or in the past versions what we used to do, so we used to add an event and action set like refreshing the section, right? So if I want that value to be immediately posted to clipboard, maybe if I'm having one dependency rule from there, I might be having a declarative rule running out, or on change of this, I might have an activity to be executed. So whenever I want this value, so I'm forcefully required to go for refreshing the screen. But now every view, whatever you are seeing today in Constellation, that will automatically go for form refreshing. Okay, so it will be automatically modified. So whenever this value is modified, immediately background, so you will see data reflected into its table. So now come here and go for refreshing part. So can you see our latest information? So this is updated, and whatever the new records that is there, and something you have deleted, right? So that must not be also there. That's it. So check in database, modified data. Okay. So this is the requirement what I ask you to work on by running an activity, by running your own activity. Okay, so this is actually combination of three earlier requirements. So how to just pull the data and how to add records on top of it and how to update the same data into my table. So how easy it is made today. Okay, so this is what you should finally understand. Okay, still one surprising doubt what we are having it is from where are we getting all these rules executed? So what are the OOTP connect trusts in between, and what is something like DX API, and what is that services? Okay, so this is something pending as part of our complete discussion. Okay, so far every one of you clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So now we are something understanding about like uh, list view, right? And before that we understood something about like form view also. So whatever it is, in case types or in data types, there are no sections. No, there are no more sections. Everything as like an view say kada. If I click on UX tab, let me come back. So I'll be having everything as a view. So whatever the views you created in data class, it will be available here. Whatever the views you created in case type class, you will be seeing here. Okay, fine. And here you will see something major called full page view. After you running the case, so you can see one main thing, right? So from here, that is like starting with blue color header and something till bottom part. So everything is what you are seeing as the output, you know that. And this in our older language, in our older versions, we used to call it as an harness. So first there must be a main portal to be designed within which harnesses must be there, and within harnesses there must be sections and within which controls we used to have. But the latest thing is like, so there are no more harnesses, no more like sections or no more controls. So everything is like replaced, right? Okay, so here you will be seeing with the name called full page view. Maybe if my requirement is to modify this header part. In the past versions, it's like something hectic process. I should identify what is the OOTP harness name and inside which what is the OOTP section and in what rule set it is and where I have to save as it. And by the way, is it like final rule or available rule? Is it okay for taking modifications? Okay. And how to again save as. So this is something like more lengthy process what we understood. But the same design I can easily modify with something called full page view. So I came to case type related class and I came to UX tab and this is something like full page view and full page ante consider it as like complete harness where header part what options you are having and what you wanted to change. Everything can be customizable here itself. So what is like heading showing for you? So heading it is showing something like case type name, right? So if I don't want case type name, if I wanted to show something like work object ID somewhere here, or if I wanted to show so the operator's name, or if I wanted to show the status, whatever it is, some modifications can be done. So click on this one. I can give some property references what you created or some OOTB property name also. Let me click on this one. Create operator and ending. So it's nothing but who has created, right? And subheading. Subheading meaning whatever you are seeing below. So let's proceed it as like work object ID only. That is case ID only. And here you are seeing some options called urgency and work object status. These are something highlighted in bigger size, right? So you can see urgency and work object status. So if you wanted to go with something different property, so you can try adding that. And maybe if you don't want this, I'm deleting it. Okay, and let me add and go for something called case ID. So let me select this one and click on add. So these are like getting highlighted now. And next you are seeing something called summary fields. So in summary fields, so here create operator, update operator. According to that, you can modify. Okay, if I don't want few things, I'll delete it here. So you should know that full page view is mainly focusing on the outer, outer of our actual view. Okay, and even let me save some for. Okay, you can see those changes are reflected, right? So you can see create operator's name and something as like work object ID, and you can see this status and something like case ID, whatever it is in this full page view. So you can see those modifications done. So likewise, you'll see something called summary tab. So this is what I'm talking about. You can try making or work playing around with that. And so you'll see something called tabs. Tabs meaning at the last you are seeing some uh, intent bar kind of. So this is nothing but layout group. Okay, so if I'm comparing this with our past design, so there must be something called layout group where you can show multiple layouts with some tabbed manner. Okay, fine. So now here I'm seeing some modifications to be done. So tabs, pulse, history, something, right? Now consider I wanted to add one more tab now. I wanted to add one more tab. And in the tab, I wanted to display all the policy details. So So here I have something a list already. So there is something like case types, right? Now I wanted to add one more tab, and on click of that tab, I have to get a table layout. And on the table layout, I should get all the list of policies. So where user can add policies, where user can delete and modify, meaning whatever the requirement we have done somewhere at this fourth or fifth level, fourth or fifth screen. Maybe if I click on submit for next 4 times, I'll get something, right? What we have already designed. If the same, if I wanted to display somewhere at the footer so that the real user can access this footer every time, right? Every time meaning, so above it might be at any stage or any step. So this is something like continuously accessible. So if I wanted to take it here, what I have to do? So no doubt I have to click on plus for this tabs. Okay, it is asking me the tab name first of all. Inside that tab, I have to call the existing view or I may have to create the new view. Okay, so that is update policy data. This is the tab name what I wanted. I'm just submitting it. Now you try to open that tab. You should see it is like immediately reflected in the preview also. So you just try to open that tab. And here you'll see it in terms of regions. You know what is already a region, right? So in the past versions, we worked on section. And in section, you'll see it as a template. Inside template, you'll see it as a region. Region is nothing but some portion of an UI. So now click on add, and here what I wanted. So I'm already having a view. So that view is what I'm trying to call now. This is the one, and click on add. So now just save this. Okay, come back. Okay, you can try saving this. Just run the case and cross check. So working with Constellation is little tricky. It's not difficult. It's like little tricky. Logically, if you think what are the options available, no doubt you'll come to know all these things via practice only. It's not like what we can learn automatically overnight. Okay, so based on the existing functionality. So in the past versions, how I designed this. So maybe how I worked on that requirement. I'm just trying to correlate with the existing thing, right? So that kind of adaptability will take time, no doubt in it. So, but it's not that difficult. It is little tricky. You should understand what are the extra features or what are the most advanced features given here as like in simple options. That is what we have to digest. So if you practice it maybe for 6 months in your real-time project, no doubt you can easily adopt. Okay, so the same level, if you are a beginner in the past version, you should learn everything for more than 2 hours, 2 years. But here, after you learning everything past version, understanding the latest things, it will not take more than 6 months for you. Okay, fine. So I came to the screen number 1. If I click on this, I should get the same options. So where I can click on plus, add the records, modify everything, and the same changes should reflect into my main table immediately. Same functionality. Okay, so you should know how to modify these views. So ultimately, whatever the views we are maintaining at here, I'm trying to configure those into my full page view, nothing much. Okay, so here I'm trying to add something like tab. Now, if I wanted to add one more tab, and if this is about collecting a single form, so this is about collecting multiple, right? So if I wanted to go for a single form, so whatever the form view you created, you can call it here. So in this way, you should know how to modify your full page view. And right side part, you'll see something like utilities, right? So you'll see something called attachments, followers. This is one. Attachments and followers. So if you wanted to customize that, you can do it right away here. Okay, so these are like something utilities or widgets, what we call. What do you mean by widget? So a piece of reusable section or UI kind of which is already there. So I can include those utilities. You can click on plus and you can see these many widgets are already there. These are not completely a view. I did not create this as a view. This is kind of an widget. Okay, so Pulse, followers, Gen AI coach. So these are. If you wanted to make modifications, you can try. And you are seeing one more new option called Gen AI Coach. What do you mean by this? So in any website, if you log in, maybe it's right side, right bottom, you'll see something like chart symbol, right? Not talking about just Pega. So in any website, you'll see something like chart. On click of that one, virtual assistant is what you'll see. So by default, you'll see a message like, how can I help you? So you'll try typing it. So it will be proceeding further, right? So the same option you got with something called Gen AI Coach. So I can click on place and whatever the OOTB widget I already have, I'm selecting that. Click on add, and here just try to observe. Here you'll see one small extra symbol. You can see this, right? Something like AI symbol, AI assistant symbol. So if you don't want that, you can just remove it. So if you go to App Studio, whatever the autopilot option you are seeing and whatever the virtual assistant related things you are getting, same thing will be applicable using this Gen AI coach. Okay, using this Gen AI coach. Okay, and at the last you are seeing some other options as showcase icon. So meaning here you are seeing some icon, right? The very first screen. So you are seeing some icon. So if you want that, you can mark this. Maybe showcase life cycle. So if I uncheck this, whatever the stages you are seeing, that will be removed. Checkboxes are not reacting properly. Okay, so you should see something like stages to be removed. Okay, you'll understand when you are practicing it. And you are having one more option called show prompted action. So if I mark this, then whatever what is happening? I think this arrow is extra coming, right? Okay, so you are seeing that arrow as something extra. I think arrow or this one, whatever it is. This is like minimal change. You try observing it. So I can see some harness related modifications in Constellation in this easiest way. And as per that, I may have to create those many views. Okay. So here, this is something like main preview, what you are seeing here. And these are all the list views and these are the partial views or form views. So there are these many type of views available and all these are plugged into the main page view and finally you are getting output. So this is what overall thing is. Okay, everyone clear right so far?
Yes,
Understood
sir.
right how to make these view modifications? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And in terms of styling part also, we got some minimal changes. So consider this is like background blue color, right? Now, if my requirement is to make this complete background as light gray color and whatever the headings you are seeing, I can see something like border, right? If I mouse over, I can see some border highlighting. So whatever the border you are seeing, I wanted to see it in something different color. Or I wanted to see something like different colors applicable in terms of border or background or maybe whatever it is. So here you call these as themes. Getting my point? You call these as themes. It's not like skin changes furthermore. So here in Constellation design, you call these as themes. So for that, there are like OOTB themes available and I may change between those or I can create my own theme also. For that, you have to go to App Studio first. So first go to App Studio and under settings, you can see this, right? Under settings, you'll see something called themes where you can even find some options of localization, meaning changing the languages also. It's currently showing in English, right? If I wanted to change this to Japanese or Spanish, so those options also must be there. So now I'm just trying to click on themes. And remember, whatever you are doing from App Studio, okay, so that is expected to be done by a business analyst. That is expected to be done by a business analyst. So if I'm like in Pega BA, I can make these skin changes, right? Skin similar changes. And I can able to make this localization changes. Even I can able to make this email listening part, email configuration part and everything. So you can see similar options here. So if you go to settings, so you'll see similar options. And in fact, they can even create few rules also, as I already showed you. So they can able to add new case types, they can modify, they can add data types, they can add personas, and even they can create few rules like this. So they can make skin rule changes also. So whatever App Studio is developing is getting developed more. Okay, so most of the changes are expected to be done from App Studio even by a developer. Okay, so if something is to like deep dive in, no doubt we have to switch to Development Studio, which is like less recommended if it is can be done from here. If it can be done from here. Okay. So now let me go to settings and let me go for themes. And here you can see something like this first one has like default showing out, right? And let me select the second one and see how it is like changing. This is like overall change. things changed up. And you can try this one. Maybe you can try this. You can try this, whatever. So there are like changes available, but you cannot modify these ideas. Okay, so you are not getting an option to modify this. Maybe in fact, you can save as this or you can create the new one also. So let me show you how to add new theme. Okay, something like mm, HDFC main theme. Okay, this is the name what we're trying to provide. So click on submit. A new theme is what you are seeing, right? And here, what are all the main colors and fonts? You can decide it here. So for the branding, so let me give this as the color. You should see those changes immediately reflected. And for the interactive items, what do you mean by interactive items? Interactive items are anything available as a link or a button or even. So this is something like a tab, right? So try to change this to something like violet color. So you can see these options and border. So you can see a small borders, right? So border wise, let me change this to something like a red color, and according to that changes must be there. And the main text, if I wanted to change this to something different color like this. So you can see these changes available, right? And input borders, whatever it is. So avatar, small images and everything. So you can play around the options available for any navigational bar, for any primary buttons or secondary buttons, and in terms of font styles. So these are all the minimal options available as part of theme. Still, you don't have an option to go for how to display an element like 4 in one row or 5 in one row. So in the past versions with the name of skin, with the skin rule, you got everything, right? But here it is not that level of configured. But whatever configuration happened so far, no doubt it is like well advanced. But everything is not configured. It is like pilot now. So Constellation is something recently introduced. Constellation is not at started in every project. They're running something like POC still today. So down the line, once our team is ready with Constellation design, so we should be like technical is ready, right? Then whatever the existing Team Cosmos project, it might be converted into Constellation, or whatever the new projects we get from Constellation, we should be like then ready. Okay, so now still pilot related things are only running out. Okay, fine. So finally, I created or I designed a theme, right? So let me click on proceed. Okay, so one theme is ready. Next, where I have to call this theme, I'm seeing these many themes, right? So what is like theme by default getting applicable for me? So if I run the case now, will I get this new theme applicable until no? What you have to do is you are supposed to go to channels. And here you'll see the portal, whatever we are running out now. Click on this portal. And here you go to this configuration. And here you'll see an option to go for theme selection. So whatever the new theme you just created, it will be available. It will be available. And now come to case types. By default, it is like there. I'm supposed to save this. And come to case types and try to run this case type. Open this and try to run this one. So you should see those new changes, right? Okay, everyone understood that how to make this styling related part clear?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, sir.
Dharmendra?
Yeah,
Fine.
yes.
Okay, fine. So now let me show you one more requirement. Let's work on one more requirement, and with that, we'll continue. We'll stop today and we'll continue tomorrow. So far you understood how to collect a single property value, maybe how to collect something like a page related value and even a page list in terms of inserting or modifying or deleting everything. So in this whole process, you did not create any single backend rule so far. You did not create an activity, did not create a data transform everywhere. You did not create a data page or a report definition or a declarator rule. So everything by default are like inbuilt, and we're trying to just make those executed from our UI part. Okay, that is what we are highly understanding. Okay. Now, if in the same screen, if I wanted to collect something about like attachments, what generally we used to do? I'll click on this, and from here, I'm supposed to go for attaching a new document, right? This is what we are supposed to do. So comparing this with our older version, even there at the right corner, you have a widget to upload an attachment that is there. And from our UI part also we used to see, right? So now what I wanted is somewhere at the bottom, I wanted to collect attachments. Okay, if it is about this above screen level, so maybe in screen number one, I might collect a few things, and screen two, few other things, screen three, few other things. So at screen to screen, we used to collect different type of attachments. And for the entire work object ID, if attachments are somewhere like it's not segregated. Consider I wanted to collect attachments as a whole. What we'll do is we'll try to add a new tab now. Within that tab, I wanted to collect his PAN card attachment, which should be only one in number. And separately, I wanted to collect his previous payslips. Payslips will be multiple, right? For a customer, PAN card will be only one, payslips will be multiple. So I have to go for two different type of collecting attachments. One is like an only one in number, and the other one is like multiple. So how to work on that? This is what we'll quickly complete. Okay, working with, what is the last one we call? Tabs, right? So working with or create a new tab and display a view to collect for attachments. Single and multiple attachments. Okay, for that first what we'll do is, I'm just trying to go to UX tab. Hmm, We shall go to UX tab there. And first let me create the view. And this is about like list ka diya. Okay. So we'll try to create a new form view. We'll try creating from here. So create new view and with the name collect attachments and click on submit. Okay, so you can see a new view getting created. Try to open this view. Now inside this view, I wanted to go for single document collection, multi-document collection. So to go for a single document or multi-document, so you got a very easy option, that is creating a field with the type as attachment. So go for fields. Let me create a new field. It's like very easy option given for us. So single attachment. Okay, and here type what I wanted is like attachment. That's it. So is it like single or multiple? So it's like single, right? So submit and add another. That is one thing. And parallelly in the same screen itself, or maybe in the different screen for your next requirements, whatever. So go for multiple attachments as one property or field creation, and again type as attachment only, which is like list of records. Now you can submit it. So a view is getting generated within which two fields, one is to collect a single and other one is to collect a multiple. Okay, now a new view got created, right? Next, what we wanted, I want this view to be included under the tab. So better you save this and come back to full page view and under tabs. So try to add a new tab. Okay, so try to add a new tab with the name attachments. So click on submit. Okay, and try to open this one. I'm supposed to link the view, right? I just added a tab name, that's it. Inside which, what is the view it has to show? So whatever the view you already created, click on add, go for views, collect attachments is what you're trying to provide. So click on add. Okay, and you can save this. Okay, just try saving this. That's it, you can run and cross check. So in every screen at the bottom, you'll see something like collecting an attachment. So go to attachments. It must be editable, right? Or I'll try to add that view from here. So it's showing as read only. I'm not sure why. Okay, so whatever the existing view, we'll link it in here. Collect attachments. Save it. Let's run the case and proceed till. Okay, so here you'll see some option to go for collecting an attachment. Okay, so try clicking on this. Okay, so it will take you to showing some document, right? So I'm selecting this first one and parallel I'm trying to select third and next one also. It is not allowing me. So it is accepting only one in number and the document type can be anything. It can be PDF or an MP4 or whatever it is. And now you try clicking on this. This is like multiple, right? So you try to select more than one. So it is accepting it. It is accepting. Okay, so if you click on submit, as usual, clipboard structure should be seen. So it must be stored in clipboard under py case related content, whatever it is, it will be proceeding further. Then why it is not showing out here? It is somewhere showing like read only here. So there might be somewhere small option where you have to make those changes in configuration. So just try to look into that. But you understood, right, how to work with attachment part, every one of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So whatever the requirements we worked on, we did not think anything about backend part. We did not struggle anything about like what the activity and what the report definition designed to be. So whatever the existing options, I'm trying to proceed further. Learning Constellation is pretty easy compared to the earlier approach. But identifying the options today at this initial level is like little challenge. So down the line, if you work for next 1 year or 2 years directly into Constellation, everything will be pretty simple. Every huge requirement can be done in milliseconds of time. So that level of automation is anywhere there. Okay, so I'll continue. I'll explain you something like what is happening in the background in tomorrow's session. Tomorrow also we'll take some extra class and at the same time. Clear, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.